The recommended savings rate is 20% of your monthly income, but the average saving rate in the UK is between 7 and 9%, and this is a similar picture in the US. I'm managing to currently save 60% of my monthly income, so that's 3 times the recommended saving amount and actually over 6 times the average saving amount. And honestly, I don't feel like I sacrifice anything, and I don't really follow any FIRE movements either. And when I say save, I don't necessarily mean keeping this money as cash or in a typical bank account, but we'll get to that later. And I should also say that this is an average amount that I save each month. Some months are higher, some months are lower, but on average 60%. I would say that there are a few different factors that help me save this amount of money each month, so I'm going to share them with you today because it may help someone else increase their savings, which is always going to be good, especially in these hard financial times. And for a little bit more transparency, at the end of the video I'll also talk about what I do each month with my money when I get paid. To calculate the savings rate, you need to know your income and your expenses and the difference between these two figures. So it only makes sense to discuss these areas in today's video. So let's start with income. I think there's this real fine line here because obviously if you increase your income, you can save more money. But quite often it doesn't work like this, and that's because of this thing called lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is this idea or this phenomenon whereby you're increasing your monthly income, but you're also increasing your monthly expenses or the amount that you spend each month at a similar rate. So actually, you're not able to save any more than you would before you increased your income, or if anything, you're actually saving less. Quite often when people start earning more money, they tend to just upgrade their lifestyle. So they'll spend more money on cars, their living situation, maybe even get some designer clothes. So they actually don't end up saving much more. Anyway, I think the point here is to find a way to increase your monthly income, but keep your expenses the same, or even better, reduce them. There are lots of different ways that you can look to increase your income. You could try to gain some more skills so you can get a promotion at work, and also with promotions, try to be really proactive about it. Let your manager know that you're looking for one and ask what you need to do to get there. Don't just sit back and wait for a promotion to be handed to you on a plate, because it probably won't happen. You could also look to move to a different job within your company that's going to pay you better, or perhaps, if necessary, move to a different company that are going to offer you a higher amount. You could work hard towards gaining your bonus if that is applicable, or you could start a little side business, or perhaps even start a YouTube channel. Easier said than done, I know, but I'm sure you can find something that works for you and something that you're going to enjoy doing. I think for me, increasing my income was a really big one in increasing my saving rate. But you don't need to just increase your income by like 50% over the course of 1 month. You can do this gradually and build up to it. If you can even increase your income by £50 each month, then you can just save that £50 or do what I'm going to discuss later on in the video with this money, providing all of your essentials are already taken care of. Now onto expenses. This one is the big one, the most important. This is because, like I said earlier on in the video, if you increase your income but you also increase your expenses at the same rate, you're actually not going to be saving any more. Let's look at 2 scenarios. Person A has an income of £2,000 a month. Apparently, the average UK mortgage is £700. So let's say this person has a £700 a month mortgage, and this person lives a pretty chilled lifestyle. Apart from their bills and their mortgage and anything else that is necessary, they don't really spend that much money. They prefer going cycling, going on walks, and perhaps occasionally meeting up with some friends and having a drink. So once all of this has been accounted for, they spend £1,000 a month, meaning they have a savings rate of 50%, which is really, really good. Now let's look at person B, who has an income of £5,000 per month. This person earns more, yes, but they also are living a much more expensive lifestyle than person A. This person has a really expensive living situation. They're always buying the newest gadgets, buying designer clothes, and they will only shop at Waitrose. Other supermarkets are available. They're spending £4,500 per month. So even though they earn more, their saving rate is only 10%, so about average. I think reducing expenses initially was easier for me than increasing income, and that's because all I did was move somewhere where my rent would be cheaper. So my saving rate went up loads, but my lifestyle happiness didn't really change at all. Housing costs tend to be one of the most, if not the most expensive expense that you'll have each month. So you could look to perhaps get a flatmate, but do not get an annoying one. Or you could just look for other ways that you can reduce this expense. Car payments or transportation in general is a pretty big expense as well, so you could try to look to cut that back a little bit. For me, I have a car that I share with my partner, so all costs relating to that car is split in half, and that car is pretty cheap and small as well. I found that tracking my expenses over a few months really helped to highlight the areas that I could actually cut back on. By tracking my expenses, I was noticing that I was spending way more on my weekly shop than I ever have in the past. So what I did to combat this is plan my meals, and this really helped to save money and also reduce that food waste that I was seeing. Now, by no means do I always follow my food plans. I don't. But it definitely does help to do that. And then there's always thinking about other things that you may spend money on, such as going out. I don't feel like I ever miss out on doing the things I want to do. For example, the other week I went to do an escape room and went to the cinema. But typically my evenings and weekends tend to be going for a walk, just going for a cup of coffee. They tend to be quite low cost things, and I'm all right with that. I have also just purchased a gym membership where I get access to the gym, swimming, classes, sauna, all of that. So that was pretty expensive, but I'm trying to take care of my health a little bit more, so it's kind of worth it. And if I notice that I'm not going as much as I should be, then I will just cancel that membership because I hate wasting money. My point here is to cut back where you can and where it's not really going to impact your happiness. But I wouldn't suggest you start making your life miserable. It needs to be sustainable. Okay, great. You've increased your saving rate, but what do you do with that? Depending on your situation, some of that money should probably go into a bank account that's accessible in case you need it for an emergency. Having an emergency fund and all that is really good. But let me tell you what I do when I get paid. I like to follow this whole idea of paying yourself first. So when I get paid each month, I straight away take a portion of that and put it into investing in different things. I would love to sit here and tell you that every single month I invest this percent into this percent into this, and this percent into this. But in reality, I haven't got that down and sorted out just yet. But I always make sure I invest a certain amount of my money each month, wherever that goes. And over time, I do want to increase the proportion that I allocate to investing. Aside from investing, some of my money each month stays in my normal bank account. This is the money that I see as my entertainment money, if you will. Money that I will use if I want or need anything. If I want to go out for a coffee, buy a new book, go to the cinema, whatever it may be, this is the account I go to. I always make sure to try and limit the amount I'm putting into this account just so I'm not spending too much money, but I do make sure some of my monthly money does go into that account. And then some of my money each month goes into a separate account that I just don't touch. And this account is for life events such as holiday. So unless I'm literally booking a holiday, I don't go near that account. So those are the ways that I've increased my saving rate to get to 60%. And when I get paid, I've shown you what I do with it. Recently, I've made some investments into my stocks and shares ISA. So if you want to see what those were, click here.